Welcome to my channel. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe.
Everything in life is luck. Experience taught me a few things. One is to listen to your gut, no matter how good something sounds on paper. The second is that you're generally better off sticking with what you know. And the third is that sometimes your best investments are the ones you don't make. Part of being a winner is knowing when enough is enough. Sometimes you have to give up the fight and walk away, and move on to something that's more productive. That's one of the nice things. Part of the beauty of me is that I'm very rich, so if I need $600 million, I can put $600 million myself. That's a huge advantage. I must tell you, that's a huge advantage over the other candidates. If you look at what's going on with your gasoline prices. They're going to go to $5, $6, $7, and we don't have anybody in Washington that calls OPEC and says, "Fellas, it's time, it's over, you're not going to do it anymore." The Arab League tells us to go in and take out Gaddafi. We've spent billions of dollars already with respect to the Arab League. Billions of dollars, because they told us to do it. Why aren't they paying for it? They don't like Gaddafi. Gaddafi's been a terrible thorn in their side. China gets their oil from Libya. Why isn't China involved? They're going out spending billions of dollars a day on trying to take over the world economically, and we're spending billions and billions and billions of dollars on policing the world. Why isn't China involved with Libya? That, we don't get oil from Libya, China does. I support health care for people. I want people well taken care of, but I also want health care that we can afford as a country. I have people and friends closing down their businesses because of Obamacare. I think Ronald Reagan was one of the great presidents, period. Not just recently. I thought he had the demeanor. I thought he had the bearing. I thought he had the thought process. It's not like I'm anti-China. I just think it's ridiculous that we allow them to do what they're doing to this country, with the manipulation of the currency, that you write about and understand, and all of the other things that they do. But I believe in fair trade, and I will tell you, I have many friends heading up corporations, and people that do just business in China. They say it's virtually impossible. It's very, very hard to come into China, and yet we welcome them with open arms. Getting things done in this country, if you want to build something, if you want to start a company, it's getting to be virtually impossible with all of the bureaucracy and all of the approvals. The debt limits have to come down. The whole world of debt has to be changed as far as this country is concerned. We have to create jobs, and we have to create them rapidly, because if we don't, things are just going to head in a direction that's going to be almost impossible to recover from. So we really need jobs now. We have to take jobs away from other countries because other countries are taking our jobs. There is practically not a country that does business with the United States that isn't making, let's call it, a very big profit. I mean, China is going to make $300 billion on us, at least this year. So Bush certainly wasn't the greatest, and Obama has not done the job, and he's created a lot of disincentive. He's created a lot of great dissatisfaction. Regulations and regulatory is going through the roof. It's almost impossible to get anything done in the country. I do have my ducks in line if I want to do it, but I'd love to see the Republicans pick somebody that was going to win and take over this country and, frankly, to use the expression, make America great again. What I speak to Mitt Romney about is jobs. What I speak to Mitt Romney about is China, because he's got a great view on China and how they're trying to destroy our country by taking our jobs and making our product and manipulating their currency, so that it makes it almost impossible for our companies to compete. I think the big problem this country has is being politically correct. I've been challenged by so many people, and I don't frankly have time for total political correctness. And to be honest with you, this country doesn't have time either. Our politicians are stupid, and the Mexican government is much smarter, much sharper, much more cunning, and they send the bad ones over because they don't want to pay for them. They don't want to take care of them. Why should they when the stupid leaders of the United States will do it for them? I give to everybody when they call. I give, and do you know what? When I need something from them 2 years later, 3 years later, I call them. They are there for me. I have used the laws of this country just like the greatest people that you read about every day in business have used the laws of this country, the chapter laws, to do a great job for my company, for myself, for my employees, for my family, etc. If I were a liberal Democrat, people would say I'm the super genius of all time, the super genius of all time. If you're a conservative Republican, you've got to fight for your life. It's really an amazing thing. I own buildings. I'm a builder. I know how to build. Nobody can build like I can build. Nobody. And the builders in New York will tell you that. I build the best product, and my name helps a lot. Somebody made the statement that Donald Trump has built or owns the greatest collection of golf courses ever in the history of golf, and I believe that is 100% true. I built a great company, some of the most iconic assets in the world, $10 billion of net worth, more than $10 billion of net worth, and frankly, I had a great time doing it. The Veterans Administration is a scandal. It's corrupt, and what's going on is a disgrace. And, believe me, if I win, if I become president, that will end. the veterans will be treated properly. Ronald Reagan became, not only a Republican but a pretty conservative Republican. Not the most, but a pretty conservative Republican, and he's somebody that I actually knew and liked, and he liked me, and I worked with him and helped him. I have women working in high positions. I was one of the first people to put women in charge of big construction jobs, and, I've had a great relationship with women. Everybody has their detractors. Some people say arrogance, or whatever they may say. I only have one thing in mind, and that's doing a great job for the country. I do respect them. I have great respect for women. In fact, one of the reasons The Apprentice was such a successful show for so many years, the audience of women was fantastic. I had great relationship with the Hispanic. We had a lot of Hispanics in the school, actually from different countries, Venezuela, from Brazil, and they all played soccer. And I was on the soccer team, and I developed great relationships with them. My father was very energetic. My mother was very energetic. He lived to a very old age, and so did my mother. I believe that I just have it from my father, from my parents. They had wonderful energy. I get a lot of credit for comb-overs, but it's not really a comb-over. It's sort of a little bit forward and back. I've combed it the same way for years, same thing, every time. I have the right temperament. I have the right leadership. I've built an incredible company. I went to a great school. I came out. I built an incredible company. I wrote the #1 selling business book of all time, Trump, The Art of the Deal. Sure, I'd like to see apples built in the United States, not built in China. I'd like to see them have factories in the United States, at least partially. They make nothing in the United States, virtually. The pact we have with Japan is interesting, because if somebody attacks us, Japan does not have to help. If somebody attacks Japan, we have to help Japan. My father was a successful real estate developer, and he was a very tough man but a good man. My father would always praise me. He always thought I was the smartest person. One thing about television, it brings out personality. People are able to watch me in action. They hear my voice and see my eyes. There's nothing I can hide. That's me. Television brings out your flaws, your weaknesses, your strengths, and your truths. The audience either likes you or it doesn't. Everything I do in life is framed through the view of a businessman. That's my instinct. If I go into a pharmacy to buy shaving cream, then I'm going to look for the best deal on shaving cream. Sometimes you need conflict in order to come up with the solution, through weakness. Oftentimes, you can't make the right sort of settlement, so I'm aggressive, but I also get things done, and in the end, everybody likes me. We need intelligence in this country, we need a certain toughness in this country, or we're going to end up like a lot of the other places, and we're not going to have a country left. What I hate about Halle Berry is there's always drama around her. It's always fighting. Automobile accidents, fist fights, boyfriends fighting ex-husbands for the child. Jimmy Carter used to walk off the airplane carrying his own luggage. Do you remember that? I don't want my president carrying. I want the freaking Marines to be carrying his luggage, and they want to carry his luggage. At the Super Bowl, when Beyoncé was thrusting her hips forward in a very suggestive manner, if someone else had done that, it would have been a national scandal. I thought it was ridiculous. What my father gave me more than anything else is great tutoring and the great brain, frankly, you know. My father's brother was a top person at MIT, went to MIT, graduated from MIT, was a teacher at MIT, a professor at MIT, a great engineer. I mean, you know, I have very good genes. You've seen my statements. I do very well. I don't mind paying some taxes. The middle class is getting clobbered in this country. You know, the middle class built this country, not the hedge fund guys. But I know people in hedge funds that pay almost nothing, and it's ridiculous, okay? I describe Jeb Bush as a low-energy individual, and, unfortunately for him, that stuck, and it's true. He's a low-energy person. That doesn't make him a bad person. I've met some great people that deal with me in the press. I've also met some people that were very dishonorable, frankly. I think I will be a great president, having to do with the military and also having to do with taking care of our vets. I like the idea of amending the 1964 Civil Rights Act to include a ban of discrimination based on sexual orientation. It would be simple, it would be straightforward. I grew up in New York City, a town with different races, religions, and peoples. It breeds tolerance. If you love what you do, if you love going to the office, if you really like it, not just say it, but really like it, it keeps you young and energized. I really love what I do. You learn their honesty, you learn their competitiveness, you learn a lot about a person. It's not that they have to sink the pot and there's a great deal of talent involved, but you do learn about how competitive a person is on the golf course, and frankly, how honest. The early versions of Shell's Wonderful World of Golf were great. It's sort of interesting. As it progressed, it became worse and worse, but the early versions were really fantastic with Jimmy Dimroth and Gene Sarazen. They were classics. Owning great landmarks such as the Empire State Building or Trump Tower or the General Motors Building or the Plaza Hotel, there are certain just spectacular landmarks. It's an honor, it's really an honor. One of the reasons that New York became great was that it's serviced by many different rivers and waterways. You have the Atlantic Ocean connected virtually right to it, and it's serviced by the East River and the Hudson River and lots of tributaries. You have to blast to build in Manhattan, and the buildings went up in Manhattan because of the power of that bedrock. Once you dig that foundation, and they dig with dynamite, and once you dynamite out and you secure the foundation, that building isn't going anywhere. I will tell you this, I have fun. A lot of fun with The Apprentice. When I did the books, and now we have a book out, and all the time. Books are prestigious, but there's sort of nothing like having the big hot show on television. I think the World Trade Center should be rebuilt as the World Trade Center. Only stronger and one story taller. I hate what they're doing with the World Trade Center site. "You're fired" was not a part of the deal, and when I went into the first boardroom, the very first one, I'm looking at these people, and I had to fire somebody, but we never thought in terms of the expression "you're fired." The golf facet of my life doesn't go with the rest of my life, which is a rough and tumble life. I work in real estate development, which is the toughest business, and I do it in the toughest city. I deal with ruthless people. In real life, if I were firing you, I'd tell you what a great job you did, how fantastic you are, and how you can do better someplace else. If somebody steals, that's different, but generally speaking, you want to let them down as lightly as possible. It's not a very pleasant thing. I don't like firing people. We have to go see Bill Gates and a lot of different people that really understand what's happening. We have to talk to them, maybe in certain areas, closing that internet up in some way. Somebody will say, "Oh, freedom of speech, freedom of speech." These are foolish people. We have a lot of foolish people. The Hillary Clinton foreign policy has cost America thousands of lives and trillions of dollars, and unleashed ISIS across the world. No Secretary of State has been more wrong, more often, and in more places than Hillary Clinton. Thanks to Hillary Clinton, Iran is now the dominant Islamic power in the Middle East, and on the road to nuclear weapons. Hillary Clinton's support for violent regime change in Syria has thrown the country into one of the bloodiest civil wars anyone has ever seen, while giving ISIS a launching pad for terrorism against the West. When I see the crumbling roads and bridges, or the dilapidated airports, or the factories moving overseas to Mexico, or to other countries, I know these problems can all be fixed, but not by Hillary Clinton, only by me. I have visited the cities and towns across America and seen the devastation caused by the trade policies of Bill and Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton supported Bill Clinton's disastrous NAFTA, just like she supported China's entrance into the World Trade Organization. President Obama has almost doubled our national debt to more than $19 trillion, and growing, and yet, what do we have to show for it? Our roads and bridges are falling apart, our airports are in third world condition, and 43 million Americans are on food stamps. The American people will come first once again. My plan will begin with safety at home, which means safe neighborhoods, secure borders, and protection from terrorism. There can be no prosperity without law and order. Every day, I wake up determined to deliver a better life for the people all across this nation that have been neglected, ignored, and abandoned. I have visited the laid-off factory workers in the communities crushed by our horrible and unfair trade deals. These are the forgotten men and women of our country. I have embraced crying mothers who have lost their children because our politicians put their personal agendas before the national good. I have no patience for injustice, no tolerance for government incompetence, no sympathy for leaders who fail their citizens. Decades of record immigration have produced lower wages and higher unemployment for our citizens, especially for African American and Latino workers. We are going to have an immigration system that works, but one that works for the American people. What truly matters is not which party controls our government, but whether our government is controlled by the people. January 20th, 2017, will be remembered as the day the people became the rulers of this nation again. The forgotten men and women of our country will be forgotten no longer. Everyone is listening to you now. Americans want great schools for their children, safe neighborhoods for their families, and good jobs for themselves. These are the just and reasonable demands of a righteous public. Together, we will make America strong again. We will make wealthy again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And yes, together, we will make America great again. Thank you. God bless you. And God bless America. It is time to remember that old wisdom our soldiers will never forget, that whether we are black or brown or white, we all bleed the same red blood of patriots, we all enjoy the same glorious freedoms, and we all salute the same great American flag. And whether a child is born in the urban sprawl of Detroit or the windswept plains of Nebraska, they look up at the same night sky. They fill their heart with the same dreams, and they are infused with the breath of life by the same Almighty Creator. So to all Americans, in every city near and far, small and large, from mountain to mountain, and from ocean to ocean, hear these words: you will never be ignored again. Your voice, your hopes, and your dreams will define our American destiny, and your courage and goodness and love will forever guide us along the way. Every decision on trade, on taxes, on immigration, on foreign affairs, will be made to benefit American workers and American families. We must protect our borders from the ravages of other countries making our products, stealing our companies, and destroying our jobs. Protection will lead to great prosperity and strength. We stand at the birth of a new millennium, ready to unlock the mysteries of space, to free the Earth from the miseries of disease, and to harness the energies, industries and technologies of tomorrow. A new national pride will stir our souls, lift our sights, and heal our divisions. No dream is too big, no challenge is too great, nothing we want for our future is beyond our reach. A little more moderation would be good, of course. My life hasn't exactly been one of moderation.
Thank you for watching.